There are doors made not of wood or stone, but of flesh, memory, and mystery. Doors that cannot be opened with physical keys, but with presence, with awareness, with reverence. And among them all, there is one that has been hidden, concealed, and misunderstood for centuries. Access to the deepest creative power of the feminine is found not in temples or sacred mountains, but in a woman's body, in her most subtle energetic geography. It is a tiny dot, but vast, like a miniature star, where the sensual, the spiritual, and the ancestral converge, a center of light, fire, and transformation. A sanctuary that has pulsed with the memory of the goddess for generations. This point has been labeled with shame, with fear, or worse, it has been erased from the maps of collective consciousness. But today, in times of spiritual awakening and the return of the feminine principle, its secret resurfaces like a pearl shining beneath the dark waters of oblivion. This point is not just a source of physical pleasure. It is a cosmic antenna, a spiral, energy that can open inner doors to intuition, healing, magnetism, and divine connection. Those who have learned to consciously touch it, not only with their hands but also with their souls, have discovered that from there, women can remember who they truly are: bringer of life, alchemist of the worlds, guide of mystery. This video is not an anatomy course, but a revelation. I will guide you through the veil that separates the biological from the mystical, so that you can understand what this small and overlooked center of power is really like. The key that activates the dormant energy in the womb, in the heart and soul. We will explore its hidden history, its role in ancient sacred traditions, and its potential to release the sacred fire of the feminine. You will discover how its conscious stimulation can not only heal trauma, but also raise the vibration of the entire energetic body. Get ready, you are not facing a vulgar secret. You will learn about a spiritual technology embedded in the feminine body, a divine design that history tried to erase, but now she awakens. For when this inner star shines, a woman not only remembers her power, she embodies it. Since the beginning of time, the female body has been revered as a living temple. In the oldest cultures, which still remembered that the earth was a mother and the cosmos a sacred womb, women were considered a channel between the worlds, the embodiment of the cyclical energy of life, death, and renewal. But at the center of this temple was an invisible altar, within which lay a hidden pearl, the flower of the body, which not only beat with lust but also guarded a spiritual secret, was not only a source of carnal pleasure. It was and is a node of connection with the subtle dimensions of existence, an energetic key, a spark of creative fire. In matriarchal traditions such as the ancient Minoan Egyptian cultures or the wisdom of the Sumerian priestesses, this point was known without being named. It was called the jewel, the inner throne, the offspring of Isis. It was said that those women who knew how awaken this inner jewel, they could see beyond the veil, heal with a single touch, and attract everything they needed with their mere presence. This key was activated not with force, but with presence, not with cold technique, but with warm and sacred intention. It was part of rituals that combined movement, breath, sound, and silence. It was respected as a living flame is respected. It was understood as the seed of the universe contained within human skin. With the arrival of patriarchal religions and systems of moral control, the temple was plundered. The body of the woman went from being a portal to sin, and this key, this small door of sublime energy, was covered with layers of shame, repression, and oblivion. The knowledge was repressed, banished, buried under centuries of dogma. Yet the symbol did not die. It slept like a coiled serpent, waiting for its moment to rise, and that moment is today, with the rebirth of feminine consciousness. The key shines once again in the dreams, visions, and inner awakenings of thousands of women. No external permission is needed to touch the mystery. You just have to remember that this point is a living mandala that is more than flesh. It is a quantum memory, designed not only to give pleasure, but also to be an antenna for communication with the divine. And every woman who honors it, who recognizes it, who awakens it with respect and devotion, rescues a stolen part of her soul and gives the world back its original light. For true spiritual awakening does not begin in the mind, but in the center of that which is forgotten. Imagine that in the sacred garden of the female body, the hidden petal is not visible to the naked eye and is not understood even by those who have not refined their spiritual perception. This petal, hidden in an intimate corner and protected by the veils of culture and biology, is in reality a living antenna capable of detecting frequencies that the logical mind cannot translate. When this point is stimulated with consciousness and not just touched, but truly recognized, a subtle current, similar to a vibration, begins to activate, originating not in the muscles or nerves, but in the energetic field itself is a pulsation that connects the body to its stellar origin. It is no exaggeration that many women who have explored this area with spiritual respect report visions, expansions of consciousness, memories of ancestors, and above all, a profound sense of return. This point is the shell in which the pearl of the female soul rests, a structure as small as it is powerful, whose sensitivity is not an evolutionary accident, but divine architecture. Were it merely an organ of pleasure, its design would need contain nothing more than 8,000 nerve fibers, more than any other part of the human body. Does this seem like an encrypted message to you? But its power lies not only in sensation. Its true potential arises when this pleasant energy is not dissipated but rises. When this spark is awakened, the energy that would normally remain on the periphery begins to move towards the center and from there up the column of energy. It is an ascending movement that ancient mystical schools in many traditions knew very well. This is represented. Symbolically associated with the Kundalini fire is a serpent that sleeps coiled at the base and, when awakened, rises to the lotus of the crown. What is almost never said is that this serpent needs a spark to awaken, and this spark for women is born from this forgotten point. Activate this area with devotion, with intentional breathing. It not only awakens physical sensations but also awakens memories of the soul. It restores the body to its sovereignty and reestablishes the connection between pleasure and the sacred. This point is not an anatomical luxury. The ring of power of the female body is not a piece of jewelry but a sacred seal. When this circuit is switched on, the body becomes an altar and every sensation becomes an offering. In this moment, the woman no longer seeks God outside of herself. She recognizes herself as part of the mystery. Even when this spark, this small flash of conscious energy, is ignited at the sacred threshold of the female body, it does not remain where it is born. It begins a silent ascending journey to the higher temples of being. The journey is not a poetic metaphor, but a tangible energetic dynamic felt and experienced by those who have walked this path with attention and dedication. The female body, in its original form, is an alchemical instrument, its structure organized as a spiral of transformation. The previously mentioned hidden point is the entrance door, but not the final destination. When the energy at this point awakens and is not consumed on the surface, but is sublime, that is, ascends rather than dissipates, then a phenomenon of refinement begins. Vibrating, this energy, as it moves upward, passes through various inner centers, known in many traditions as wheels or lotuses. Each of these centers represents a level of consciousness, a dimension of the soul. But for this energy to ascend, physical stimulation is not enough. Pure intention, a total presence, a will to transcend the mundane and enter the sacred. The ancients said that the body is a tree, and that this hidden point is the luminous root from which the heavenly fire ignites, but to prevent it from being consumed at its root, it must be nourished through breathing, ritual silence, and, above all, reverence. Reverence is the channel that transforms the mundane into the transcendent. Many women have experienced this ascension without knowing it. Moments of inexplicable ecstasy, unprovoked tears, sudden expansion during intimacy were not just emotional reactions, but the imprint of the soul touching its memory. In certain states, this energy reaches the chest area. The activation of the center of compassionate love occurs here, where desire meets tenderness and the physical connects with the spiritual. When the body is open and the mind doesn't interfere, the ascent continues to the throat, where the woman begins to speak from a new place. Her truth is no longer mental, but vibratory. When the journey reaches its climax and the energy reaches the lotus of the crown, an experience occurs that many describe as dissolution. There is no name, no form, no history, only infinite presence. In this moment, the woman doesn't remember who she is because she remembers everything. But this path is delicate. It is not forced. It is not imposed. It is permitted. It is honored because it is not a mechanical cycle, but a dance between body and mind. Every woman has a rhythm, an inner language, a unique way of activating this flow. That is why there are no universal formulas. The true teacher listens, and more importantly, this process is not for the gratification of the ego, but for the integration of the soul. It is a call home, a silent alchemy, and everything. It begins with that forgotten point, that pearl that holds the map of the return to wholeness. Those who dare to consciously awaken this energy not only change their body, but also their destiny. For a woman connected to her source is a living portal, a medicine, a revolution within herself. The awakening of sacred feminine energy is not a matter of a moment. It is a path. A flower does not open at a call, and deep energy does not respond to haste. It is an art of patience, listening, and ritual. I share with you below simple yet powerful exercises to allow this sacred point, this living pearl, to become an inner sun that illuminates every aspect of your existence. Touch first with presence, not in haste. If this PowerPoint is a temple, then you do not enter it with dirty shoes or a scattered mind, whether alone or with company. The key is full attention. Breathe before you touch, honor before you explore, and recognize that it is not a button to turn on pleasure, but a portal to activate consciousness. If the body does not feel safe, if the energy does not rise, then cultivate that inner environment in which the soul can relax. Second, alchemical breath while touching or meditating in this area. Consciously direct the breathing. Imagine breathing in light and exhaling what no longer serves you. Visualize this energy awakening and rising like a golden thread through your spine, touching each center, igniting each chakra. If any part of the body contracts, do not force it. Simply observe, breathe, and release the breath. This is the great key that allows the subtle to move. Third, ritual of the inner mirror. A powerful practice is to sit in silence and focus your attention on this sacred center without physically touching it. Simply place your attention there. Ask yourself, what does this point want to tell me today? What memories does it hold? What blockages are hidden? Sometimes healing begins simply by shedding light on an area that has been obscured by shame or forgetfulness. What is observed with love begins to transform. Fourth, take care of what enters your temple. The energy of this center is activated not only by touch but also by emotions. Thoughts and words. When you surround yourself with dense environments, with people who don't honor your essence, or with content that turns off your light, this center begins to close. When you instead nourish your day with beauty, art, nature, song, and dance, this point opens like a flower that feels the sun. The fifth, honors your rhythm. Not all women feel the same. Some perceive fire, others water, others wind. There is no one way to awaken this energy. So don't compare yourself. Don't look for formulas. Seek authenticity. The sacred is not copied. It reveals itself in the intimate, for what dwells there in that hidden petal, in that ancestral spark, is nothing other than the memory of the feminine soul waiting to be awakened. And you are the sole guardian of this temple. There comes a moment on the spiritual path when we no longer look outside because something has ignited within. It is not a shrill light or a fierce fire. It is a constant warm glow born from the depths of the body, as if the earth itself were breathing within you. This light, this presence, this energy is born from a place that had been forgotten, silenced, even despised for centuries. The sacred feminine was veiled. The world feared its power because it cannot be controlled or subjugated. It does not obey the logic of conquest or power structures. Its language is the symbol. Its strength is creation. Its rhythm is cyclical like the moon, and at the center of this ancient wisdom there is a secret point, a living core where the feminine soul connects with the universe. This point is not a simple organ or an evolutionary whim. It is a subtle antenna, a switch of consciousness. Is a biological altar. From it, life energy can awaken, ascend, and completely transform the being's perception. Those who reverently activate this area gain access not only to pleasure, but also to revelation, inner vision, and the certainty that the body is a temple and the soul its priestess. It's not just about touching, but about remembering to look with new eyes at a part of you that has always been there, waiting to be recognized, not as taboo, but as a treasure. This rediscovery is no trivial act. It is a revolutionary gesture, because a woman who knows herself, who honors herself, who awakens her creative center, is a woman who cannot be manipulated. This message is addressed not only to women, but also to men who love and accompany this process without fear, without interference, with listening and humility, awakens in them too the memory of the divine, because in the conscious encounter between feminine and masculine energy, true alchemy arises, the union of heaven and earth in man. So today, at the end of this symbolic journey through the hidden heart of the female body, I invite you to do something very simple, yet profoundly transformative. Listen to yourself, place your hand on your belly, breathe, and ask in silence, what does my body want to remind me of? What part of myself have I forgotten? Where's my magic hidden? And if this message has resonated with you, if it has touched something in you that is yearning for more, I invite you to explore this ancient wisdom further. There is much to discover, and we are just igniting the first flame. Subscribe to the channel, leave your like if this video has awakened something in you, and share this message with other souls who are also ready to remember that your path is sacred, your body is a map, and your being is a miracle.